As Parker, the Fernley Park butler, took my coat, Ackroyd's secretary, a pleasant young man called Geoffrey Raymond, passed through the hall on his way to Ackroyd's study, with his hands full of business documents. "Good evening, Doctor. Coming to dine? Or is this a professional call?" This referred to my black bag, which I had put down on the oak table. I explained that I expected to be called to deliver a baby at any moment. Raymond went on his way, saying, "Go into the drawing-room. I'll tell Mr. Ackroyd you're here." I noticed, just as I was turning the handle of the drawing-room door, a sound from inside, like the shutting down of a sash window. As I walked in, Miss Russell Ackroyd's housekeeper, was just coming out. What a good-looking woman she was. "I'm afraid I'm early," I said.
"Oh, I don't think so. It's gone 7:30, Dr. Shepherd. But I must be going. I only came in to see if the flowers were all right."
She went, and I saw, of course, what I had forgotten, that the windows were long French ones opening on the terrace. So that could not have been the sound I heard. I noticed the silver table, which displays silver and other valuable items. Its glass top lifts, and inside, as I knew from other visits, were 1 or 2 pieces of old silver, a baby shoe which had belonged to King Charles I, and a number of African pieces. Wanting to examine one of the figures more closely, I lifted the lid. It slipped through my fingers and fell. The sound I had heard was this lid being shut down. I was still bending over the silver table when Flora Ackroyd came in. Nobody can help admiring her. She has pale gold hair, her eyes are the deepest blue, and her skin is the colour of cream and roses.
"Congratulate me, Dr. Shepherd,"
said Flora. She held out her left hand. On the third finger was a beautiful single pearl ring.
"I'm going to marry Ralph. Uncle is very pleased."
I took both her hands in mine. "My dear," I said, "I hope you'll be very happy."
"We've been engaged for about a month," continued Flora, "but it was only announced yesterday. Uncle is going to do up cross-stones and give it to us to live in, and we're going to pretend to farm. Really, we shall hunt all the winter and go to London for the season." Just then, the widowed Mrs. Cecil Ackroyd came in. "I am sorry
Sorry to say, I cannot stand Mrs. Ackroyd. She is all teeth and bones, with small, pale blue eyes, and however friendly her words may be, her eyes always remain coldly calculating. Had I heard about Flora's engagement, she wondered. Mrs. Ackroyd was interrupted as the drawing-room door opened once more.
You know Major Blunt, don't you, Doctor?
Yes, indeed. Hector Blunt has shot more wild animals in Africa and India than any man living, and every 2 years he spends a fortnight at Fernley. A man of medium height and well built, Blunt's face is deeply sun-tanned and strangely expressionless. He is not a man who talks a lot. He said now, "How are you, Shepherd?" and then stood in front of the fireplace looking over our heads as though he saw something. He said now, "How are you, Shepherd?" and then stood in front of the fireplace looking over our heads as though he saw something very interesting happening in the far distance.
Major Blunt, said Flora, could you tell me about these African things? I'm sure you know what they all are.
Blunt joined Flora at the silver table, and they bent over it together. Dinner was not a cheerful affair. Ackroyd ate almost nothing, and immediately after dinner he took me to his study.
"Once we've had coffee, we won't be disturbed again," he explained. "I told Raymond to make sure we won't be interrupted."
As Parker entered with the coffee tray, Ackroyd sat down in an armchair in front of the fire.
"The pain I was getting after eating, it's back again," he said. "You must give me some more of those tablets."
I realized that he wanted to pretend to Parker that our discussion was a medical one. I cooperated. "I brought some with me. They're in my bag in the hall, so I'll go and get them."
"Don't go yourself. Parker, bring in the doctor's bag, will you?"
"Very good, sir."
Parker went out. As I was about to speak, Ackroyd raised his hand.
"Don't say anything yet, and make certain that window's closed, will you?"
I got up and went to it. It was an ordinary sash window. The heavy blue curtains were closed, but the window itself was open at the top. Parker re-entered with my bag while I was still at the window.
"That's done,"
I said as the door closed behind Parker. "What's the matter with you, Ackroyd?"
"I'm in mental agony," he said. "Yesterday, Mrs. Ferrers told me she poisoned her husband. I want your advice. I don't know what to do."
"Why did Mrs. Ferrers tell you this?"
3 months ago, I asked her to marry me. She said yes, but that I couldn't announce it until her year of mourning was over. Yesterday I pointed out that a year and 3 weeks had now passed since her husband's death. I had noticed that she had been behaving strangely for some days. She told me everything. Her hatred of her brutal husband, her growing love for me, and the terrible thing she had done. Poison. My goodness. It was murder in cold blood.
I saw the horror in Ackroyd's face, just as Mrs. Ferrers must have seen it.